Blackstone Publishing presents The Problem with Lincoln by Thomas J. Dilorenzo. This book is read by John Mclain. To Professor Clyde Wilson, the very model of a gentleman and a scholar. Chapter 1. Unfounding Father. Great men are almost always bad men. Lord Acton. Under the spurious slogan of union, he moved at every point to consolidate central power and render nugatory the autonomy of the states. It is on his shoulders that the responsibility for the war must be placed. We all know his gentle words, with malice toward none, with charity for all, but his actions belie this rhetoric. This was Lincoln's pattern of war leadership. In the North, a repressive dictatorship. Against the South, the brutal meat-grinder tactics of unconditional surrender Grant, and the brigand campaigns waged against civilians by Sherman. Were it not for the wounds that Lincoln inflicted upon the Constitution, it would have been infinitely more difficult for Franklin Roosevelt to carry through his revolution, for the coercive welfare state to come into being. Lincoln opened the way to centralized government with all its attendant political evils. Frank Meyer. As the quotation above, from conservative literary icon Frank Meyer attests, it was once possible for conservatives to judge all presidents by their actions, and not just the prettier words of some of their speeches. That all changed in the 1960s, when a segment of the conservative intellectual class joined with the leftist intellectual class to essentially deify Lincoln and censor virtually all criticisms of him, no matter how fact-based they might be. The left was honest about its motives in this regard. The late Kenneth Stamp, a former president of the American Historical Society, admitted that a rewriting of the history of Lincoln and the Civil War was being undertaken in the hope that it would bolster the welfare state and the civil rights policies of the government during the Johnson administration. From that point on, it would become more and more difficult for Americans to learn the unfiltered, unspun truth about our 16th president. The left has always championed centralized governmental power in the name of egalitarianism. Since Lincoln is more responsible than anyone else in American history for the centralized governmental bureaucracy that Americans have now lived under for generations.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?